Hello folks, today is Friday, November 15th, 2019. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino and we're here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. Apologies for the different setting. Clearly I'm not in the office. We are actually in London checking out XO 2019, seeing what Xbox has to announce, which we'll talk about later in the show. But really, the first big story, the reason you might have even clicked, is a Superman game. Let's talk about this. First, I gotta preface this. Take it all with a grain of salt. This is from a Twitter account, a video game writer, a news writer, James Sigfield, who essentially has a really cool thread that outlines the state of Superman games, or lack thereof, from like 2013 or so. Now, some of this is images and concepts we've seen before, but he gives a little more context. And again, there's no way to like corroborate this information. I couldn't really find anything else out there. But still, if it does pan out to be true, it's pretty interesting. We'll link the Twitter thread below. But basically, 2013 saw one game, the Superman game, more of like a big open world, typical game that you would expect for Superman. I say that like we get Superman games all the time, but we don't. You know, like an open world superhero game with tons of concept art and images of Superman himself, as well as various, villains and stuff. This was apparently canceled very quickly by Warner Brothers. This one actually had footage floating around a while ago that I think we talked about on a Friday Gaming News show, but I don't want to like show a lot of it here. I don't want us to get the video taken down, because that does happen with Warner Brothers. The other cool thing from the Twitter thread was more context around another game after that one was canned in 2014 called Superman Unbound, which, if you know Superman, it's actually based on a run and also an animated movie they made for it. Now, take that and connect that to that image, that leaked image that floated around a while ago that was like a character select screen. A lot of people thought it was like Rocksteady's Superman game, which was refuted, but apparently that's what this is. It was going to be a little bit more of a pared down, more linear experience. It would take place in Kandor, the city in a jar concept. It wouldn't be like a big, crazy open world thing, but it would focus on Superman and Brainiac, and then a little bit more of like a gallery of villains within. And the scoop is from James Sigfield, if it is true, that they were apparently trying to get the game to work on the Arkham engine. Warner Brothers' idea was to have all their games run on Rocksteady's very good Arkham engine, but apparently it's hard for a Superman game, so they shit-canned that along with that Suicide Squad game that they were working on. So a little context for just like where all these concept arts and weird things and leaks have been coming from. Not only that, the kind of end point on this, whether or not this is true, apparently Warner Brothers is still day-to-day actively pursuing development on a new Superman game, meaning they are taking pitches for concepts, for game ideas, for where a project could go. So that's where we're at. Apparently, I still was hoping that there was like a Superman game deep in development, but it doesn't seem like it. Also, it's a very tough nut to crack. I've seen lots of people on Twitter and on Reddit kind of debate and frame how a Superman game could or should work. It's a tricky one, really. But I'm hoping maybe we see something really cool from Superman in the next couple of years. Who knows? Honestly, for now, I think the best Superman game is the Injustice games. That doesn't really make any sense, but like story-wise, I think it's good for that. Also, maybe they should just make a game about Red Sun. Do that. Yo, how sick is Red Sun? I just reread that.
It's fucking tight.
It's so good. Now, moving on, hot off the presses, since we are here attending the event, we do have some stuff, some information for you guys from Xbox if you are an Xbox player. So a couple little bombshell things for players, stuff they're bringing to the platform. First and foremost, Final Fantasy. Many of the Final Fantasy games, not 14 yet. Phil Spencer said that they are working on getting 14 to the platform, but Final Fantasy is finally like fully fledged of a thing on Xbox, as well as Yakuza. Hell yeah, I've been singing we've all been singing the praises for these games for so long. So if you only have an Xbox, you're going to be able to get Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza Kiwami 2. All three of those are very kick-ass games, so I think the more people getting their hands on them, the better. Also, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 is coming to Xbox, which makes sense considering 3 was on the platform. This is kind of obvious. We also got a look at Obsidian's next game, officially under the banner of Xbox, and I don't know. It's called Grounded, and it's a survival game. It's a straight-up survival game. You build, you craft weapons, but the pitch is that it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style. You're in this like shrunken down, your kids shrunk down into the backyard, and you're going through the grass, you're fighting giant ants and spiders that are bigger than you. And as much as I don't need another survival game, like I'm not a fan of them, I think this is a pretty creative approach. Also, from what I've heard, my scoop is that this is something that Obsidian was working on before Xbox got involved. It wasn't something that Xbox was like, hey guys, make this game. Apparently it's something that Obsidian wanted to make, which is interesting. It seems very un-Obsidian-like, but we'll just have to wait and see how it is. Tom, did you like it?
I thought it was pretty cool, but I also I really like that style of survival game, so I'm like super biased about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. We got to touch it for a couple of minutes. Tom was into it. I was like, I thought it was okay. Like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. We also got to look for Don't Nod's new game, their follow-up to Life is Strange 2, which it's totally different. It's called Tell Me Why. Rare is making a new game. It's called Everwild. We got a very pretty trailer, but we don't know much else. The Artful Escape caught my eye just because it looked really cool and creative. Halo Reach is dropping in December for the Master Chief Collection. That looks really good in 4K. We got to play that today. Wasteland 3 is coming in May officially, and that looks really ambitious. And also, Age of Empires 4 gameplay. We finally got to look at gameplay after the game was announced like 2 years ago, and as kind of like a born-again RTS player, it looks awesome. Besides that, the bigger stuff, I know people were like expecting some huge stuff, but if you want to catch up on everything else, like they're adding a bunch of games to Game Pass if you do have that. The article will be linked in the description below. Now, next up, I want to talk about Stadia for a second. Google Stadia, because it's coming out next week, and we finally have an official look at the actual launch lineup of games. And it's not pretty. There are 12 games. There's Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Destiny 2, Guilt, which looks interesting, Just Dance 2020, Kine, Mortal Kombat 11, Red Dead Redemption 2, which is cool, Samurai Showdown, you know, the newer one, Thumper, Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3, I guess, if we're talking about the new trilogy. And that's it. That's not a very impressive lineup. I will say, Google has been pretty upfront about the fact that they are going to be updating this thing with new features and games pretty often, like on the reg, up until even the end of the year. It's going to be substantially different. But I still think, like, just as like first glance, like if you're a person and you're getting the thing day one and you're signing up for that subscription, there has to be a little bit of a wow factor, you know? I guess they're hoping that the technology itself is the wow factor, but still, the game lineup, I don't know. We will have a before you buy up for it or something about Stadia. I have been experimenting with it right here. I can't say anything yet. Still definitely need to find a verdict, but keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, I guess since I am talking about before you buys, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I'm working on that right now. Now that it is officially out, I can tell you I've had a review copy, I've been playing it. You guys know I really like Star Wars, but I think this one is really good. It's a single-player game. It seems like it's untouched by EA. It's Respawn at their best. And honestly, if you guys like single-player games and Star Wars still, I would consider maybe thinking about showing up for this one. Also, we are going to be working on a Pokemon Sword and Shield before you buy. That should be up by the end of the weekend, hopefully, if we get our shit together. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because that's going to be an interesting one for sure. Next up, I do want to talk about Sony's cartridge thing. Have you guys seen this? Tom, have you seen this? This is crazy.
No, what is it?
Their patents are like weird. So here's the deal. A new patent has been found, this one filed in Brazil by Sony, and it is a memory cartridge, so to speak. A lot of people were throwing around the fact that it was like a removable SSD type of thing, but it's only a 12-pin connector, meaning it can't be, really. A lot of people have been saying that this is specifically for PS5. We know for sure it is an electronic storage device. We know it is an accessory for gaming. We also got a patent a couple months ago of a handheld device that floated around that people were freaking out about. This one seems like way more of like a meteor thing, but I just wonder what the hell it is. Some people are speculating that this is a custom SSD. Mark Cerny and that Wired article that gave us all the PlayStation 5 details did highlight the fact that they are using some new tech and trickery in their SSD technology for games to load faster. It's not just traditional PC solid state drive. Maybe this is pointing to that. I don't know for sure, but I still think it's pretty interesting. So again, if you guys want to read up on this, everything I talk about linked in the description below. Now let's get you guys caught up real quick. I got some trailers linked down there. The first is a launch trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield, the game that has been burning down the internet Say what you want. At the very least, a new Pokemon game is going to make some kids happy. I don't know. We also have a character trailer for Sindel for Mortal Kombat 11, and these trailers are always so great. I'm always going to highlight them because I love the way they just show off all the awesome moves. Also, if you guys are down with VR like I still am, Stormland it got a final launch trailer that's dropping this week. The trailer is really cool. It shows you what it is. It's actually Insomniac that has been working on it for quite some time. It looks like a lot of fun. But moving on, a little industry news. Bethesda Softworks has established a new arm, a new studio, actually in Wisconsin. It's called Roundhouse Games, and that's all we know. We know they're working on new IP. We don't know exactly how or what. Are they an extension of another studio? Probably that might be like the first thing, but we don't know for sure. We do know that it is staffed up mostly by people from Human Head Studios, that are the people who most notably worked on the original Prey game, so that's kind of good. I feel like Bethesda's just been getting heat from all sides lately, so hopefully maybe a new studio, maybe working on a new thing, can kind of turn those negative sentiments right side up. Does that make sense? I'm so jet lagged, I don't even know what time it is, what day it is. Also, it's Jake's movie corner now. Finally, we get to talk about some freaking movie news, baby. First, of course, did you guys see it? We got the new trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog, character completely redesigned. Now he's like overly cartoony, but I like it. I think he's way more expressive. He's cool. And I look at this new Sonic and I'm like, this Sonic could definitely kiss a human woman. I'm always gonna mention that. That movie comes out on February 14th, 2020, which is Valentine's Day. And I think that is an excellent movie for a first date. But also, we got new Uncharted movie news, the movie that just won't die. They've been working on this thing for almost a freaking decade. The newest news is that it's like actually moving along. Sony Pictures, Tom Holland stars as the lead, a somewhat younger Nathan Drake, and now officially Mark Wahlberg's in it, and he's playing Sully. Now, hold on, this is interesting because if you've been following this big waste of time as closely as I have, Mark Wahlberg was in the earlier days of this movie, and he was supposed to actually play Nathan Drake. I thought that was a bad idea, and honestly, I think him as Sully is also a bad idea. I mean, I don't know. Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I don't know. Somebody's got to, if they haven't already, somebody's got to Photoshop him with a mustache and a cigar. He's still young, but he is charismatic, so maybe. I'll give it a shot, but I just think it's really funny to point out that he has been on and off this train for a very long time. I'm sorry, guys, I just can't help but be hopelessly optimistic for video game movies. There's gotta be one that finally comes out that just kicks ass. Closest thing right now is Castlevania Netflix, but let's move on. Apparently, Take-Two is going to be announcing something soon. Strauss Zelnick, head of Take-Two, did go on record once again during a recent earnings call saying that they have the strongest development pipeline in history right now, and over the next year, people can expect sequels from our biggest franchises as well as exciting new IP. I think sequels from their biggest franchises is the most notable thing because they have so much behind them. What was brought up is stuff like Rockstar and Hangar 13. Hangar 13, I believe the last thing they worked on was Mafia 3, so at the very least I can hope for maybe some new single-player experience. Of course, they still own and hold BioShock, the brand. There has been talk for a while that they are working on some sort of new BioShock without Ken Levine behind it. Where is this gonna lead? I don't know, but you know what? It's probably something new to play, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, before we go, let's do that console giveaway we do every single week. You know how this goes down by now. There's a link in the description below. You click it to sign up, you enter once, and then you're entered for good. Now, this week's winner is going to be this person right here. Congratulations, be sure to keep an eye on your inbox, your spam box, stuff like that, because we're going to be reaching out to you to find out how to send you your free stuff. Now, before we go, I just want to hear what you guys are thinking. We'll be down in the comments as much as possible. It gets a little crazy, so if you want to yell at me, find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino. But I want to know what you think of Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I don't know. I definitely want to hear what you guys think. I also want to know what you guys think about the new Sonic the Hedgehog redesign. Also, Stadia's lineup. Are you someone that is just excited about the technology and signed up day one? For me, I don't know. I did sign up just because I was curious, but I don't know. That's not a good lineup. I hope they can actually put their money or their power where their mouth is by saying that they are going to keep evolving this product as it goes. Frankly, I'm still at the point where I really like what PlayStation and Xbox are doing way more. But I want to hear from you guys, as well as Superman. Let's talk about Superman. How do you think they could make a Superman game and make it fun when you are basically invincible? How do you do it in like not a bullshit dumb way, if that makes sense? Pardon my French. Let's talk about anything down in the comments below. Like I said, down there as much as possible. Gets a little chaotic, so social media, you can find us, yell at us over there. If you enjoyed this video though, this video we put out every Friday, getting you caught up. Clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. We'd really appreciate that. But if you're new, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. Maybe I'll see some of you guys here in London, and I'll see you next time. Pizza's on me, man. Actually, in London, it probably wouldn't be pizza. What did I eat here?